there, and welcome to my channel. I'm Crafty Kathy, and this is Tuffy Tater, and we're so happy and thankful that you stopped in to craft and spend a little time with us today. I have some gorgeous DIYs that were really easy to make, and if you want to recreate these at home, they're super simple and budget friendly. And I hope you like these. So without further ado, let's jump on in. The first DIY turned out stunning. I used this mirror that I got at the thrift store for $1, but I'm pretty sure it's a Dollar Tree mirror. I took it outside and I spray painted it sage green, and I accidentally got gloss, so it has a little bit of a shine to it. I sprayed the glass and all because it doesn't matter. I took one of these white pieces of foam from the Dollar Tree that's kind of hard. Well, it ain't kind of hard, it's rock hard. And I just put a little bit of hot glue all around it, and I'm going to pop it right down on the very top of that mirror and hold it there for a second. When I made sure that it had a good bond, I took this candle, I guess it's like a candle ring. I found it at a yard sale back in the summer, and you can make these if you need to by just adding some greenery around like a Dollar Tree, one of those small wreath forms or something of that nature. But that's all that this basically is just some greenery. It's kind of a shortcut. And look at this beautiful little deer that I found at the Walmart for $3.98. They do have bigger ones, and I think they're $12.98, but I was too cheap to buy those, so I got this smaller one. Of course, he's the perfect size for what I need anyway. I'm going to set him down kind of towards the front of that piece of foam. And the next thing that I'm going to do is take one of these Dollar Tree trees, and these are my favorite ones of this year. I think these are beautiful. They're fluffy, and they've got the faux snow on them. They're gorgeous. The bottom part of it basically just screws off, and it already has a wire in the bottom. I stuck it down where I wanted it to go and made a little hole, and then added a little bit of hot glue down in that hole and held it just for a few seconds to make sure that it's going to have a good solid hold. Just hold it in place for a moment to make sure that that glue dries. And then I grabbed this little set from the Dollar Tree that is 3 trees. I'm going to take the larger one out, and I'm going to unscrew the bottom off of it, put a little bit of glue on the bottom of that wire, and I'm going to pop it on the other side of that tree. I think it looks good to have the different types of trees. It just adds something to this piece. Then I found this gold pick. I don't even know where it came from. It looks like it may have came off of an old wreath or something, but I like the way that the gold looked with the deer. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue on it and stick it down right behind that little deer. I loved the leaves because to me it makes it look like the little deer is kind of tucked away in the glen, you know, sleeping, because that's how deer make their little bed anyway. They like to get in a little safe, secure spot. But anyways, that's kind of what it reminded me of. Then I grabbed one of my little rusted bells that I got from Temu. There was like 50 in a pack for just a couple dollars. And I'm going to put a little glue on the bottom of it and just pop it down right beside that pine cone and leaf. I think that's so sweet, and it was just appropriate to stick it there. And guys, this is not a Crafty Kathy DIY without some lights. These lights, you get 16 of these string lights for like, I think it's $12 or $14. I'll leave the link down below and in the description box so that y'all can find it easily. I love these. I like them better than the Dollar Tree because you don't have to buy batteries, and they seem to last for a really long time. You just unwind them, and in no particular order, I'm just going to stick it all around in that candle holder. That's what I'm calling it, like a little candle wreath, I guess maybe you would call it. But I'm going to go all the way around and try to hide the wire the best that I can so that the light, you know, is all you're going to see coming up around the little deer. These lights were able to wrap around this piece about 2.5 times, which is more than enough light. It's so beautiful. And I like these because you can just discreetly hide the battery pack in the back. And I always put just a little bit of hot glue on the part that doesn't have the screws. That way, in case I ever need to change my battery, I can just unscrew it and pop some new batteries in. This DIY was so simple and turned out, like I said, stunning.
Christmas is just around the corner, coming up just around the bend. Holiday couldn't be here sooner. Holiday for family and friends. And we've got pine tree, pine cone, evergreen, mistletoe, candy cane, and Santa Claus. A gingerbread woman and a gingerbread man in a gingerbread house and all. Christmas is just around the corner, coming up just around the bend.
If you're enjoying this video so far, please hit the like button because it really helps me out on YouTube. And don't you leave here without hitting that red subscribe button. I want you to be a part of my family. Now let's get into the next one. I got this ladder last year after Christmas at Hobby Lobby, and it was 90% off. So I only paid $1.49 for it. I think that's a pretty good deal. And I'm going to grab some of these picks that I get from Walmart. They're $1.28 each, and I love the quality of them. I think that they're so beautiful, and they're easy to pop in your DIYs and make them really special. The first thing that I do when I get them is kind of fan out all the pieces because it makes it look bigger and more substantial than what it is. Now, we didn't need a whole lot of greenery on this, but I did want to add something special to give it a little touch. And these pieces are wired, so don't be afraid to really pull and tug on them to kind of fan them out to make them look like they're just so full and so beautiful. I fooled around with them for a little bit to try to figure out exactly where I wanted to place them. At first, I thought I was going to place them kind of up and down on the side of the ladder, but to me, it looked so much better when I just placed these on that top rung of the ladder. So what I'm going to do to make it really easy to get these into place is grab some zip ties. I think they're actually called cable ties, but I call them tie wraps, zip ties. So if I say anything like that, that's what I'm referring to. But I like to put 2 of them on here because it's going to give it a good strong hold, and these babies aren't going anywhere. And another positive thing about using zip ties is you don't have to worry about glue coming undone and messing up your pieces. If I ever want to take this greenery off here, I'm not going to even know that I ever had anything on it in the first place. There's not going to be a big old nasty clump of glue left. It's just so much better. So you just tie those, it's so easy, and then just cut off the excess. And then I kind of stood it up to see what I was looking at there to straighten out my pieces. I like to give everything a good fluff once I get it put where I want it. Now we're just going to make the easiest bow that you've ever seen in your life. And I don't remember where I got this ribbon. I don't know if it's from the Dollar General or Hobby Lobby, but I can tell it's some really good ribbon. It's wired. I cut one long piece at 20 inches long, and then I cut my second piece at 15 inches long. I make the easiest bows known to man. Number 1 is because I don't like fooling with bows. And number 2, it's because this is a no-fail bow. It's going to look good every time. You just put a little bit of glue across the end of one piece. Bring your other piece around once you get your glue stick in there. This glue gun has been giving me so many issues. And you just like glue them together. You're basically just making a circle. You see how easy that is? We're going to do that with both pieces. That one is the bigger piece. Then we're going to bring that smaller piece around and glue it. And now we've got our 2 pieces to make our bow. Super easy. We're going to take our pieces, and I always put that piece in the very back where I glued it together, and I flatten them down because it makes it easier for me to see what I'm doing. Then I just got another piece. I didn't really even measure this piece, but I'm thinking it's probably around 20 inches. I just kind of eyeball it, to be honest with you. And it's okay if you cut a little bit extra off because you're always going to cut it down anyways. So I found the middle of it, and I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to squish my other 2 pieces together in the middle. You just kind of walk your fingers together. And then put that piece in behind them. And then, like I said, I like to use zip ties. That's exactly what I'm going to do here on this one. And see how easy these are to put together. If you've never used them, you just put one in through the other. Don't tighten it all the way yet, because I like to get that in the very center. Make sure everything is centered and exactly where I want it to be. And then I tighten that baby down to 1 inch of its life. I tighten it good. And then I'm just going to fluff everything up and just kind of get an idea of what I'm looking at here. I like to take my ribbon and just kind of pull it upward almost and out, and it makes the most beautiful bows. Now, if you have trouble making bows, always use wired ribbon. That's going to be your easiest way to make a bow, is a wired ribbon. That's how I make mine, and look, it's perfect every time. Now I'm just going to dovetail the ends, or not. I'm just going to lay it, I'm going to lay it on, and I'm going to zip tie it down. If I was thinking, I could have just zip tied it down and just used one zip tie, but hey, it don't matter. We're going to cover up these zip ties anyways, and you're not going to see them, and it doesn't matter if I use an extra one. I would rather have a perfect bow than to sit there and have to fight with it just to save a zip tie, if that makes sense. So to make a dovetail, you put your pieces together. I just hold them, I put them together like this. The longest end is going to be the end that has the wire in it. And you just cut downward to where that wire is going to be the longest piece. And look, they're beautiful. Perfect every time. And then I noticed when I kind of started fooling with them that one of the tails was substantially longer than the other one. And that's what I said, or what I meant when I said that sometimes I will cut way more than I need, because that way I can just cut it off to the length that I want it to be. The next thing we're going to pull out is my Cardinals. Now, you guys know I have been using the death out of these little red birds that I get at Hobby Lobby. They were half off of $14.99, and there's 6 of them in a pack. So they're roughly $1 a piece. Now, they do have some Cardinals at the Dollar General store that are bigger than these, and they're just $1. The Dollar General store has some of the best Christmas decor, I think, personally. I love it. I put a little bit of my Type Bond wood glue on there, and then on the sides of it, I'm going to put just a little bit of hot glue. Now, the way that this little bird was, I wanted him to be looking straight ahead, and I couldn't lay him down because his tail kept, making him want to pop off of there. So what I did was took a tie wrap and I tied it one way across his body, and took another tie wrap and wrapped it the opposite way. That way that wood glue would have enough time to dry, and he would be held in place and held down tightly so that wood glue would hold. The other little birdie, I just put him kind of catty-cornered on the side, and I did take one of the tie wraps and kind of strap him to the side of that ladder. That way he would be held down really tight and nice. And then I set this ladder aside for at least 4 to 5 hours and let it dry. When it was dry, I took one of these tiny picks that came out of a pack that I got at Hobby Lobby, and they were half off of $3, so I only paid $1.50 for them. I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue in the middle of that tie wrap on the top and just kind of lay this down sideways. That way it's going to cover up the tie wrap, but it's also going to give that bow just a little something special in the middle. And then it had this little long tail on it, which was wired. And in the end, I just decided to cut that off because we don't need it. And now we're going to pull out that Pentart snow paste that I get from my friend Lori over at Milton's Daughter. And I'm so glad she sent me this stuff to try because, guys, this stuff it's been one of my favorite products that I have used this season. I love to just kind of dab it on like this with a brush because it really looks like snow. When you first put it on, it's thick and kind of creamy, but after about an hour, it dries hard. It doesn't flake. It doesn't make a mess. It just stays on your DIY, and it's just beautiful, and it looks like real snow. So I went on both of the rungs of this ladder and just kind of tapped it all over to look like freshly snowing fall, freshly fallen snow on these beautiful little red birds out in the middle of the wilderness. You know, they're just doing the best they can. They've got a ladder and they're making it. And then up here in the pine cones, I just put a little bit up there. I know it's kind of hard to see that. I just run it through. And I love this one.
Everyone knows that Christmas should be white. Bing Crosby got that right. Oh, but I'm in Copacabana, tanning up for Santa. But I'm getting on a plane, a boat, or a train. I'm setting a new course, bearing straight due north. Santa, hold on. Santa, hold on. I'm not gonna leave you hanging by yourself. Santa, hold on.
We're down to the last DIY, and I've got this like a shadow box, and it originally came from Hobby Lobby, but of course I just bought it at the thrift store. I had previously painted the front part of it white to cover up some writing, and I'm going to use one of these beautiful transfers. This came out of the Holly Glen from the IOD, and it's perfect woodland. I love this stag that's in there. And for me, the bunny rabbit, it's not Christmas. Bunny rabbit just always reminds me of Easter. I thought he was really cute, but I decided to use that beautiful stag. So if you've never used a transfer before, they're so easy. It's the easiest thing ever, and it makes a gorgeous DIY every time. You just lay it down, and you just kind of run your fingers over it to make sure you've got a good connection. And then they send you this little tool, and you just kind of rub over it, pull the film off of it, and then use that film to burnish it. And that just means you kind of run over it, and it's basically just giving it a really good connection. I had 2 pieces of this beautiful homespun that I get from Hobby Lobby. I need to go get some because I use this every Christmas. I love these particular colors also because it's a red and a cream color. And homespun is so special to me. I love it because you can just make a small little cut in it and then rip it, and it has that raggedy edge that's so beautiful and farmhouse looking. All I'm doing is just putting a little bit of glue down the sides and putting that homespun down the sides just to kind of cover up the fact that there's about an inch, left over from my picture to the edge. And I thought it gave it a little something special too, a little different look. I'm just going to cut off the excess here at the bottom. When I made sure that my sides were nice and straight and looked good, I pulled out these little pine cones that I got from the Dollar Tree, and they're on a wire, which is perfect. I love the size of these. I just cut a couple of them down because I wasn't exactly sure at this point what I was going to do. So I played around with a couple of ideas, thinking that I might put the pine cones on the side because pine cones and deer just kind of go together. You know what I mean? I think they look good. But then I decided to use some of those rusty bells that I got from Temu. And I wanted them to go right down the center of the homespun. So what I did was just put a little bit of hot glue on the backs of them and went down through there and put each one down. I hope that you guys are liking these Woodland DIYs. Let me know what you think about them and if you'd like to see more. I love Woodland stuff for Christmas. I just think it just goes along with the whole theme of things. I love it. And then up at the top on the left-hand side, I still wanted to incorporate those pine cones. So I stuck 3 of them up there at first. And I didn't feel like just 3 of them looked right. So I thought, well, what am I going to do? So I just added 1 more of the little pine cones up at the top of that just to kind of make it look a little bit more cohesive in my thoughts. And then my favorite part, I got a little bit of Mod Podge on the end of a brush and I just ran it over all the areas on this picture that had like leaves or greenery. And then I'm going to use my Woodland Diamond Glitter. It's my favorite glitter to use at Christmas, and it's in my Amazon store if you want some. And I just added it to it, and it made this picture really pop. And then I'm just going to take my snow paste from Pentart, and if y'all want to get some of that, I'm going to leave Miss Lori's information down below so y'all can try it out. I'm going to run it through the pine cones, and I just love the way it looks on pine cones. It's so beautiful. I took this little wood piece that I got from, I'm pretty sure it came from the Dollar Tree, and at first I just used a dark wax on it, but I wasn't really happy with the way that looked. So then I pulled out my DIY Dark and Decrepit, which it pretty much is a dark wax also, but it just has a little bit of a different color to it, and it was exactly what I was looking for. That deep dark brown color that just so much reminds me of a woodland theme. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue up at the top and pop it right on. It's that simple, and this DIY is done. And you guys liked that so much the other day when I said that's sexier than socks on a rooster, baby.
Merry Christmas, baby. Reindeer's coming out to play. Santa Claus is packing the presents, making sure you've been behaving okay. Merry Christmas, honey. Yeah. The snowman's dusting off his hat, putting on the show for everybody, to give them a smile that lasts another year. There's something that happens when sleigh bells are ringing, when December ends, when the children are singing, yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Ooh, yeah. There's room at the table for big and for small. All the fire is popping.
I hope you guys enjoyed these woodland creations. Please let me know in the comments what you thought about them and if you'd like to see some more. And don't you leave this channel without subscribing and becoming a part of our family. We would love to have you, and there's always room for more at our table. And if you did enjoy this video, please give me a big thumbs up because it really helps me out on YouTube. And guys, don't forget that my videos are every Monday and Thursday. I will see you back here on the next one, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Did you know that you can subscribe to my channel just by clicking on my face right there? You sure can. So don't you leave without subscribing. Here's another Christmas video like this one. If you just touch on it, it'll take you there in a minute. I pray God bless every one of y'all and your families this week.